And hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Scott Welsh, and this is the Let's Talk About Robot Trading webinar, also known as the Tennis Half Hour. No, it's not usually known as the Tennis Half Hour, but I do get kidded and scolded and yelled at and encouraged to talk about tennis, only because tennis was my entire life since I was about 12, until recently, of course. Then it's been taken over by this robot trading nonsense. Welcome. It's Thursday again. It's 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We meet here every Thursday at 2 p.m. So glad you're here live joining me. We're going to talk about, is limiting upside a good thing? And that sounds ridiculous. How can limiting upside be a good thing? Well, we'll find out. Won't that be fun? Except the thing won't move, so I can't change my screen. Oh, there it is. All right. As I mentioned last week, I'm working on streamlining my site. It's been great, gotten a lot of great feedback. I'm going to keep working on that. I am not a professional marketer. I am learning about how to get important stuff to you. So I'm learning on the job. You're seeing me born online in front of your very eyes. So anything you think that would make your experience better or make me smarter, please let me know. You can join the Wednesday weekly email list. Now, some marketers would say I should email you every day. Some very famous people who make millions of dollars and $100,000 a month do email you every day. I don't email you every day. I mean, I could. Do you want that? Would you want an email every single day? I mean, I work hard on these weekly. I feel like weekly, like a football, like American football, like you can get pumped up for it weekly. Would you like something smaller and every day? I mean, I could do that. I mean, I gave speeches to my tennis group. Tennis again. I gave speeches to my tennis group every day. I mean, Monday through Friday, Sunday too. I gave speeches every day, little 5 to 10 minute speeches. It's something I'm used to doing, but it's just not something I felt like you would want. So love to hear about that. If you want to make the weekly Wednesday email list, the weekly everyday email list, which of course doesn't make sense, let me know. But right now I'm planning on just keeping on Wednesdays. Everybody seems to like that. But I do have stuff to say. I don't know if you want to hear it, but I have stuff to say. All right, let's talk about cliches. Oh, if you've heard the Rise and Shine podcast in the past, you've heard me rant on cliches before. Well, guess what? You're going to hear it again. Let's talk about cliches, okay? Now, I'm very interested in them, specifically trading cliches. I'm interested in, where do trading cliches come from? I mean, I sit around in my office by myself and I say things and they aren't repeated for generations. Like, how does a cliche get repeated? I mean, I'm just fascinated by the oral tradition. Like, how does it get passed down? Who is the person that said, let your winners run? And then, oh, that's pretty good. And then the next person said, let your winners run. And then generations of people, decades later, now will not make a single thought for themselves. The only thought they have in their heads are, I'm going to repeat what I've heard. I'm going to repeat what I've heard. I'm going to repeat what I've heard. And pretty soon people don't even think for themselves. They just regurgitate that. Let your winners run. Well, where did it come from? Who started it? Was it a newspaper article, magazine? Did a famous trader get interviewed somewhere? Doesn't that interest you? Probably not, but it interests me. But why do they exist? Like, why are people so willing to adopt cliches? Like, why are they just so, I'll sign up for that. That's the way things are. I won't think about it. I won't investigate it. Nope, that's just the way it is. Because why? Because I've heard it for decades. Frustrating and yet fascinating too. It's like it excites me and it annoys me. Why do they repeat them? But most importantly, besides all of that, are they true? Are they true? I mean, everybody says them forever. Are they true? I mean, I'm fascinated by it. All right, now, more than fascinated, I have a detest-hate relationship. Get it? They're both negative. I don't like cliches in general. Trading cliches, I'm fascinated by. Cliches, I'm generally get hot bile in my mouth whenever I think about cliches. Okay, now here's your background, and here's your weekly tennis hour. If one of my students, and again, I dealt with anyone from kids, from super skilled kids from 11 to 21 or beyond, if any one of them, or even the pro staff, used a cliche during my practice, they would run. Or if I was really annoyed, the group would run. So they would say something stupid, that's a cliche, that has no creativity whatsoever, and I'd say, yep, on the line, let's run. And I run until they stop saying stupid stuff, right? So just so you know, this is where I came from. They were banned. I spent 22 years banning anyone around me from saying a single cliche. Can't stand them, okay? Why? Because cliches are pointless. They have no creativity. They don't cause anyone to think. There are a lot of reasons why I don't like them. They just don't further the education or our personal enlightenment, at least so I thought, right? And depending on the level of cliche, not only would they run, they might run more. I might just get annoyed and run them for 15 minutes, right? Again, depend on the severity of the cliche. Now, what are some of the ones? Well, I'm not going to say them because I've banned them from my life. But there's a cliche, and it's really just one word, but it's used in a cliched manner, and it starts with E, and it rhymes with schleppig. I absolutely cannot. I am generally a pacifist. I don't, even though I was in competition, right? Even though I'm wildly competitive for many years, I generally find it tedious, right? I like competition, but I don't like fighting, right? But I would fight someone to use that cliche, right? There's a D one that teenagers, not so much me and you, because we're such enlightened, intelligent adults, but I don't really hear this, but teenagers say the D word, and it rhymes with rude. If they said the D word, they ran. If they said the E word, really, there was a lot of trouble. And the phrase, I know, right? Oh, I just actually blanched and threw up my lunch, right? When people say, I know, right? If you say that, I'm sorry. I don't mean to insult you. I still care about you as a person. I still give you a hug, even though I'm not much of a hugger. But please don't say that anymore. What? It doesn't mean anything. I know. Okay, that's a declarative statement. You know something. Right is a question. Statement question. Doesn't make sense. It has no point. Stop saying it. Just stop it. I don't want anyone to say it ever again. Anyway. And then, of course, they have the Chevy commercials on TV. If you've ever seen one, well, anyway, they make me run my head into a brick wall. All right. Now, I'm sorry, there's my rant. I had to get that out. I had to share that with you. Now, they aren't all bad. In fact, I've found, which is why I'm fascinated, that trading cliches in specific aren't all bad. In fact, there might be a reason smart people have been handing these down, and there might be a reason that people keep saying them, because they're true, huh? But some trading cliches are, of course, ridiculous, like all the other cliches. Like, for example, have you ever heard sell in May and go away? I've heard that since I started reading trading books back in 2003/4. Sell in May and go away. People say that. What the blank does that even mean? I know it's for equities, and I know it means people go on vacation, I guess. Oh, I have a position. Sell in May and go. What does that mean? How long? Go away for a month? All summer? Come back in December? What does that mean? Why would people repeat that? It drives me crazy. That is pointless. Does not help us in any way. Okay. But there are medium level cliches, right, that are kind of true and kind of helpful and kind of, I don't know, right, ridiculous. Pretty famous one. You can't go broke taking a profit. And I classify this as medium level. I'm sure you've heard it. If you're a trader, I know you've heard it. I know you have. Thing is, this is kind of true, right? I love that Demetri Martin line, like kind of, doesn't really, it can mean vastly different things, like, oh, you just had a boy, kind of, right, for example, or I love you, kind of. Anyway, you can absolutely go broke taking a profit. You absolutely can, right? For example, I've seen trading strategies with profit targets like super short, 5 pips or under, 2 pips, 3 pips. Run a trading system. They can lose for an entire year. You can have 12 months of trading, taking profits, have a losing year, and if that's all the money you had, guess what? You literally went broke taking profits too soon, right? So that is very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous because you can go broke, right? But, going for the big win and saying, well, I'm not going to take a profit. I'm going to get, 4 times my risk reward, right? How many times now have I read between the famous Tony Robbins books and very famous traders saying, if you don't have 4 or 5 to 1, you're a pointless jerk, right? You're an idiot trader who will never succeed, right? I've heard that too many times. It makes me kind of angry. But going for the big win and watching winners turn into losers, that's also most likely a bad idea. In a lot of situations, that is a very bad idea. And in those cases, taking a profit would actually be good. That's how you don't go broke. So this one's true and it's not true. This one is it depends, right? There are some trading strategies where can't go broke taking a profit. I agree with. That's what the research has shown. And again, I don't agree with anything unless I've seen research. I only agree or disagree based on what's proven. All right. I don't have beliefs that I just believe for no reason. Okay. Just so you know. All right. So in some cases, that is great advice. On certain strategies, take profit as fast as possible. Other strategies, like trend following strategies, don't take a profit or you absolutely will lose money. Okay. So that's a medium one. That's why I call it medium. It's good and it's bad. But there's a high level cliche that I really, really like. And that is, I'll put quotes on it, if you can't sleep, your trade size is too high. If you go to bed worried about your positions, definitely your trade size is too high. I have not found a single example in my life where this isn't true. If you love being in a trade, your trade size is right. If you don't like it, if you don't like being in a trade in the day and you don't like being in a trade at night, your trade size is way too high. And in that Mother's Day Massacre, which I talk about all over the place in podcasts and everywhere, when we were in a trade for a week and we didn't sleep for a week, for 4 days straight, never went into REM sleep because I was always listening for the buzzer on the trading platform, right? Sold or buy, or I forget what trading station is. Sold. I don't know what this says. Anyway, who cares? I spent 4 days absolutely not sleeping because my trade size was too high. So that is a cliche that absolutely works. So you with me on cliches? Good. So let's talk about what about, quote unquote, letting your winners run. Is this a good one, bad one, a medium one? All right, let's talk about it. On one hand, letting winners run is worthy of being passed down from generations, right? It absolutely works. See, trend following, right? Trend following only works, and I'm raising my hands. I'm making an emphatic point. Trend following only works because you let your winners run. You do not take profits too soon. You let them go as far as you can, and you let them retrace and stop you out naturally on a trailing stop, right? It absolutely works. Pass it down. Tell your neighbors. Tell everyone to let their winners run if you're a trend follower, okay? On another hand, I have two. I'm looking at them. It doesn't work as well in day trading, or it doesn't work at all. Anyway, right? So if you say, let winners run, man, let winners run, woman, if you're a day trader, that may not work at all, or it may work more poorly than a possible other strategy, like take your profits, okay? Now, in my heart, I feel like it would be nice to let winners run. I want to let winners run desperately. I'm just telling you what I want in my heart. How great would it be to make your month, your quarter, your year on one trade? Ooh, baby doll. I would love that. I don't know why I said baby doll, but I would love that. Okay? To start on, say, a 15-minute chart, which is my favorite time frame, and watch that trade turn a week-long or a month-long marathon of profit, oh my gosh, I would love that so much. I mean, I dream about that every day. However, it's not a great day trading strategy over the long haul, right? You can't just get into, at least according to my research, I'm open to your research, you can get into a lot of trouble or hamstring yourself by trying to let your winners run. All right, let's talk stats. We're going to look at a day trading robot trading on the pound dollar. I'm very interested in the pound dollar these days, in case you haven't guessed. Now, a part of me wants to get bigger winners. Maybe not let them run forever, but a part of me wants to get bigger winners on a day trade. Why can't we, people, why can't we take the principles of trend following, which have been proven to work over centuries, why can't we apply that centuries-old philosophy to day trades in a small scale? To me, that makes such good sense. It's the best of both worlds, which is another cliche, get it? I really want to do that, right? So in other words, how would we do that? Well, you get into a day trade, and instead of putting a numerical profit target on it, just let conditions go extreme. So let's say you're value investing. You buy it on a day trade, maybe a 15-minute chart, and you just let it go from one lower Bollinger Band all the way to the top, right? That's an example of low extreme to high extreme. We might get a huge winner from the lower Bollinger Band to the top, and wouldn't that be awesome? And it wouldn't be days or weeks or months. It would just be a little bit. Aren't we better off? Don't I want to be better off by using that trend following methodology, all right? Or should we get out quickly? Well, that's what we're going to look at, okay? Now, longer profit on a day trading pound dollar. Okay, I did MT4 numbers this time instead of TradeStation. I could have done either. But keep in mind, these two are very, very similar. Not exact because the indicators do not transfer exactly from platform to platform. And isn't that grand? But here's how a day trading robot can do on pound dollar if I do not, put a numerical profit target on it. Okay, so I'm trying to take trend following into day trading, right? The profit is taken, as I just said, when the market gets extreme. So I'm going to ride the momentum in the opposite direction. So in other words, I get in on a pullback and I want to ride them, it's a long trade, I want to ride the momentum up. I'm not going to limit it. A numerical profit target stops everything. I'm not stopping it. Why go for 10 pips when you can get 40? Why go for 20 when you can get 80? Get it? It makes sense, right? Let's see how it goes. Well, of course, there is a potential problem, right? If it doesn't get to the opposite extreme and turns around, but let's focus on the positive, right? Let's use the positive ideas. Okay, if we trade this way, as I said, the profit target is unlimited. No numerical target holding us down. No upside being limited. We're going to open up our upside and keep our stops the same. Again, how many times do I have to say it? This seems like it should work. If we get a fast-moving market, we're going to get a big win. And why not be on board for that? And if it's a slow market, yeah, we'll get little or no profit target, but absolutely our winners should pay for our losers, right? This is what's in my head. Here are the numbers doing all that. Hopefully you followed along. 2003 to now, 2017, hypothetical account. This is trading 0.2 trade size. So this could be on, $2,000 account, $5,000, whatever. Again, doesn't matter. Small account, under 10. $5,800 profit. This is what matters. 762 maximum drawdown. So not bad, right? It seems like that pretty much works. That's a good thing. We did not limit our upside. And look, we got a 7.6 profit to drawdown. That's what that P to D means. Profit to max drawdown. P to D. I coined that, so I want that to be repeated for generations, right? I made that up, P to D. Okay? How cool is that? It's a cliche and it's nauseating. Anyway, 58.76, okay? Pretty good, right? No problems? All right, remember those numbers. Now let's compare that to taking the profit. Again, the exact same trading system, day trading system, but we are going to use a numerical profit target, right? We're not going to let the winners run, even though it should work. I want it to work. And it takes the trade out at a numerical target, X, no matter what. Fast-moving market, you make 10 pips. Slow-moving market, maybe you make 10 pips, right? It doesn't matter, right? 10 pips is the goal. There is no unlimited upside. Our upside is capped. It's like socialism. No, it's not really like socialism, but I thought that was a good example. Probably not. Okay? It caps your profits. Get it? Winning is limited. Now, isn't that a bad thing? Doesn't that go against trading cliches? Doesn't it go against what I personally want in my heart? Let's look. Here are the numbers. 59.88 profit. 5,800. So 59 to 58. So cutting down our upside makes more money, and max drawdown 258. It was 762. Whoa! Did you catch that? Getting out, right? Never go broke taking profits, right? Taking profits and not letting it run cuts the max drawdown down a ton. This doesn't make sense, which is why you should investigate every cliche you've ever heard in your life, right? Again, it's 2003 to 2017. Look at that P to D ratio. Say it, everyone. Generations. 23 to 2 as opposed to 7.6. Okay, if you're not familiar to profit to drawdown, we want this as high as possible. Just I'll do a quick explaining. What does this ratio mean? It means roughly you make $23 in profit for every $1 of max drawdown you may have to suffer. Okay, so it means this one means you only get $7 of profit for every, or $7 of profit for every max drawdown, 7 to 1. $7 of profit for $1 of max drawdown. Okay, so that means every time you make $7, you're due for a drawdown, right? You see what I'm saying? If it's 23, in other words, you're going to go longer. You're going to get more profit before you have to suffer a drawdown. You get what I'm saying? That's why we want that. We want to have more profit. We want to get more profit for every dollar of drawdown that we're forced to suffer. Nobody likes losing. So I've talked about it before, but it's a great way to measure trading systems. Take your total profit, divide it by the max drawdown, you get a ratio. I found it to be the most powerful ratio probably you can look at. Now you need a lot of data, right? If you do 1 year of data, this ratio doesn't help you because you don't even know if that's the max drawdown. Okay, so it's not useful if you're only going to be a short-term tester. But if you're testing long periods, I love that ratio. Okay, but you can just look at the numbers: 700, 258. Got it? And what does it feel like? When you have a higher ratio, it's more fun to trade. Again, you're going to win more than you lose, and that feels great. Okay? So what does this comparison mean? It means that limiting your upside can be a very good thing when day trading. Day trading is the key to that statement. Do you see what I'm saying? If we're trading daily charts or weekly charts and we're going for trend following, it's not good to limit that upside because you're going to get the big winner is never going to pay for all the losing. But in day trading, it can be a very good thing, right? What's the bottom line? In your life, try never to use a cliche. It's what I've been telling teenagers for 22 years. As a great writer once said, and maybe you've heard me say it before, never say anything in a way that you've heard before, right? You said it about writing, but I use it as talking. Never write anything exactly the same as you've heard it, right? Don't repeat anything you've ever heard. Try to be creative. You'll become more interesting, but it'll make you smarter. By constantly striving to be unique, it keeps your mind sharp. I've had teenagers come to me scared, quiet. I would call on them in the group. They wouldn't speak, scared to speak, didn't speak for a year. And by forcing them to not use cliches and to be creative, they turned into loquacious, ebullient kids that actually drove me absolutely crazy. And you may see some of them tweet at me on Twitter because they're nuts, right? But it works, okay? I've seen people blossom by not using cliches. So that's why I'm telling you, right? Feel free to tell me I'm go suck an egg or something, all right? But when it comes to trading, find out for yourself. Don't follow, let your winners run and then just say, oh, I got to do it. Do your research. Don't follow cliches. Decide for yourself. Okay, that's my message. And when day trading, if you're using a day trading system, day trading for me is 15 minutes, but if you're going down to 5 or 3 or 1 minute charts, that's day trading. Or if you're just taking a trade out within a day, that's day trading. I'm encouraging you in your system to investigate taking profits and getting out. I like that you don't go broke taking profits. In fact, you thrive in day trading systems that I'm investigating. You thrive when you take those profits out early. Absolutely you do. If you haven't looked at it, look at it. It might improve your strategy. All right. Before we wrap it up, let's go to the question. Let's go. Oh, people have been chatting today. Excellent. Oh, no. Okay. All right. I'm ready. Please do not do that, Dennis. I'm sure we're talking about Ohio. That's funny. Weekly is better. I don't know. I forget what I was talking about, Terry. I was blathering on, but I like weekly too. E is the word for A. Oh, Terry says E. The E word is A for Canadians. That's kind of prejudiced, eh? I don't know if it's prejudice the right word. You draw them in for a close hug and then reach out to throttle them. That's actually a really good idea. How about, yeah, no. Ron, that's so funny because I've ranted in my own brain about that. Yeah, no. What is yeah, no? It can't be both. And remember, come back in September. That's funny. Excel in May and go away. Yeah, but come back in September. That's funny. Uh, also, too, wherever, that's a good one. Also, too, yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, geez, Fred says it's epic. Oh, I should not have brought this up. I have a feeling you people are going to torture me. Robot in the back test, we're talking about the Hornet. Yes, we are. I'm almost done talking about the Hornet forever. So if you're tired of it, your day is coming soon. I've got a new day trading robot that's similar to the Hornet, kind of again. And so I'll be talking about that going forward. So the Hornet is almost gone, but I thought I'd give it a few more times. Can you do something like this for fair value system? Do something like this, meaning what? Because we take short profits on fair value. Talon, you'll have to be more specific. Going to talk about the Heron in a second. Thank you, Andy. The Heron is the replacement for the Hornet. Actually, it's not the replacement. The Hornet's still going to be traded by me and probably by lifetime members, but I'm tired of talking about it because people ask me. It's like it's only available to lifetime members, and if you're not a lifetime member, then you don't get it. So it's kind of exclusionary, and I don't like to exclude. I like to include. But it's the only day trading robot that I'm talking about for a few more minutes. So anyway, I'll talk about the Heron in a minute. Terry says, which is worse? Oh, no, awesome, or I'm not saying the E word. Terry, he said awesome or E. E is worse. Awesome is 1A. That's so close. Oh, man, it drives me. That is a good one. Letting profits run versus profits sooner. Absolutely, Talent. I think I've talked about that, and I'm going to talk about it again, but how to go for bigger profit targets and pay for the whole year. Talon, do you remember when I either wrote about it or we did a Thursday about it, where I talked about how use a bigger chart on fair value and let 1 or 2 trades a year pay for your whole year. Do you remember talking about that? Because I'm going to talk about it again. I'm fascinated by that. I have so many. I wish I had $1 million because I would have opened up 400 trading accounts and test all this stuff for you, and then I'd have the answers. But anyway. Oh, Terry's running laps now. That's funny. Would love to see that. All right. Thanks for the questions. That's funny. Please don't use cliche. I have a feeling I'm going to get emails. Oh, no. I feel like Pandora's box has just been opened, and now it's going to bludgeon me in my own neck. All right. I got a great email about the book. They said it was, they really, really enjoyed it. I put it up on the website. I was very, very flattered. Don't read my book. I wrote it. I loved writing it. It doesn't have to sell even 4 copies. I don't care. But if it can help someone like the email I got, then I'm super excited. So it's the inevitability of getting rich. It's something I actually live my life on. I changed my life writing that book. So anyway, the Heron is up on one of my accounts. Oh, speaking of the Heron, right? That's how I get into this. Look at this. There it is. Anyway, the Heron is up. It took its first trade yesterday. All I need to see on the Heron is that it takes the trades right. The Heron was created by me, not a programmer. It was coded up by me, so it's super scary and super rewarding. Not scary actually at all, but super rewarding. But I need to make sure because it is the first run. When it takes the trades and it matches up to what the testing shows it should be, and it takes the trades right, and I'm confident, you will get sick of hearing me talk about it. The new trend following course has begun. I hope to start recording on it next week. I hope to start doing that. But the Kajabi course has already been started. And I'm hoping to have it by the end of the month. I'm worried about that deadline. But if I record next week, that should be done by the end of the month. If you read my blog post yesterday, I talked about a trading contest. That was so much fun. This is one of my favorite blog posts in a long time on the weekly email list, Wednesdays. I hope you like that. It was just for fun. It wasn't exactly rooted in fact because my trade sizes were extreme. I started at 20 lots because it was 200 to 1. So I just started at 20 and went up from there with no regard to drawdown. But I absolutely love thinking about that way. It was a mind opener for me, hopefully for you. I'm not done talking about that. I'm actually going to put real money and do something crazy that I'm not going to talk about. I'm going to do it in secret and then come back and talk to you after I've done it, and then I'll teach you how to do it. So it has started a secret experiment for me with real money, and I'm super excited about that. So that's all I'm going to say. You'll hear more about it when I've done it successfully. How about that? I just peeked. This is what I'm trading the Heron on. This is my FXbook account, right? It's still, it didn't make it public yet. And it's only a tiny bit of money. I'm going to add a bunch more money to it, but I was really skeptical about my FXbook because it took me a week to even get their technical support to get it up and running. But look, I'm up. I started end of March, and now it's middle of May, so it's almost a month. I do trade sizes way too small, again, because I basically didn't trust it. But that's all going to change. I'm going to add some more money, add some more trade size. Hey, but look, 1.37 in less than a month. Guess what? I'm beating all the benchmarks, baby. So anyway, all the stuff I've told you in the past was a lie, but this is true. Sorry, that's a little joke. I've been telling the truth all along, but hopefully this is another way for me to tell the truth, right? Anyway, just making jokes. Just making jokes. As always, great feedback on the book or anything else on the website. If there's something I can do better, please tell me. If you want to get in contact me, go to the Contact Me page on my website. Send me a message. Been getting a lot of good ones. This is wrong. We're up over 680 now, just slowly but surely. People are getting these videos on YouTube. And there's the contact page. No, it's not. There's the contact page. So you can email me there or go to the website, scottwelsh.me. All right, that's it, everybody. I will talk to you again next week, and looking forward to it. See you then. Bye for now.